Hey everyone, welcome to Sports Guys Iowa. I am Brandon Leonard, as always joined by my partners in crime, Jordan Cole and JD Gunderson. But we got a little bit of a twist this evening. We got some very special guests, not one, not two, but three special guests from Upper Iowa University, Iowa's favorite Division II school. We've got Mike Schrock, Warren Reyerson, and Joe Stasi. Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
We're doing this podcast today. We all know football season's year-round. That being said, it's signing day for NCAA Division II schools, and we're going to highlight a big recruiting class that Coach Hoskins brought in. I think when we made up our Excel, JD, we were up to 34 bits, and I want to say 19 from the state of Iowa, and I think a few have trickled in since then. Just a phenomenal class. There's some pieces going out, but we're not going to worry about that today. We're going to worry about the pieces coming in, the reloading that the Peacocks are going to do after a 9-3 season, an Albany's Candy Bowl victory. Got to be the coolest bowl in America. Is that leg lamp? Is that in Fayette, guys?
Coach Hoskins, I believe, has it. I think it's in his office.
The official lamp is at the Great Lakes Valley Conference office, but the university purchased a replica leg lamp for the coach to have on display in his office.
Absolutely. That's a major award.
It's a major award.
It's a very major award. It's for Gile. That's Italian, just like Joe, right? Yes. It's great stuff, guys. But like we said, it's been a big day. JD did an interview with Coach Hoskins earlier today. Be sure to catch that on our Spotify channel. We got it up on YouTube. Yeah, we're excited to dive in and dissect this a little bit more. But first, we want to peel back the onion a little bit on who these gentlemen are. We mentioned they're from Upper Iowa. Mike, I want to start with you. We talked before the podcast, your title at the university is Director of Prospect Development. Why don't you tell a little bit more about what that entails and how you ended up in Fayette?
So my job is, I like to tell people I'm the CIA of Upper Iowa University. So what I do is I track our alumni and their data so we can get information out to them, make sure we have the correct addresses, phone numbers, so on and so forth. So there may be people watching this saying, I wish I would have never gave them my real address, because we do send a lot of stuff out, but it's the way we stay connected. Yeah, so that's my current job, but I got connected to Upper Iowa in 95 when I decided to come up and play baseball for Coach Heller. Spent my time up there from 95 to 99 on the baseball team. I worked as a student assistant for the women's basketball team, which was one of my best decisions ever. Really turned me on to the game and really loving the game because I wasn't any good at it. And then in 2000, I was called back to be the full-time assistant. And so I did that for a year while they found somebody else to come in and take my place. And as I joked with you guys, I wanted to go make some money somewhere else. But 7 years ago, I came back into the current role that I'm in. I love it. I love the campus, love the university, and also get the opportunity to put on the headset during the Upper Iowa men's and women's basketball games. A lot of good things happening in Fayette, and just so happy to be part of it.
Absolutely. We really appreciate you coming on, and it's an interesting role, and it's a great thing for you. It's working because Upper Iowa is just booming. I love it.
Yeah, I will tell you that one of the greatest things is having relationships with our alumni top notch, makes the whole grind seem worth it.
Absolutely.
And Warren can attest to this. Mike Schrock's passion for Upper Iowa University is unmatched. Warren Reyerson, can you follow up on that a little bit?
He has forgotten more about Upper Iowa University and their athletic programs than most folks know.
The guy's passion.
I love that.
Yep.
Encyclopedia. Heck yeah. We'll just transition over to Warren here real quick too. Tell everyone what your affiliation with the university is.
I'm originally from Northeast Iowa. I'm from Olwine, same hometown as Joe. I've lived up in the Twin Cities now for about 30 years' time. I still have family and friends down in Iowa. When Joe invited me into the booth to call games with him a number of years ago, I jumped at the opportunity, and it's been a lot of fun calling home and road games with him for all these years.
If there's one thing that we've learned with the Sports Guys Iowa deal, there's just nothing better than talking football with your friends and experiencing these games. And I'm sure the things you guys get to see going up and down the road, enjoying those victories, it's unlike anything else.
100%.
Yeah. Joe?
And so, you know what? So I just want to dial back real quick. I've had some terrific radio analysts, play-by-play analyst, if you will, depending on what the medium is as far as radio, TV, streaming. Warren Reyerson is somebody that I grew up with and realized that he had an affinity and the knowledge that he had of every football player before social media. Warren, he's the biggest Upper Iowa fan and biggest sports fan that I've ever known, and one of the smartest individuals. And I've always surrounded myself with people like that. And I'm proud to say that I've done that at Upper Iowa University.
I appreciate you chipping in there, Joe. And we talked on the call. I believe you said you're class of 91. You've been doing play-by-play for roughly 25 years.
It's the best time of my life. And I was on the road for 22 years, Brandon, and on the road, on the buses. I do football Friday night, which I still do here in Des Moines on KXNO and throughout the state of Iowa, 6 to 11 every Friday night throughout the high school football season. I've got 10 correspondents out under the lights on the sideline. And then I would do that and then drive to flipping Bismarck for a 1 o'clock game with 1 hour sleep and then spend the night and then drive back. But yeah, Upper Iowa University, bleed Peacock, baby blue. And it's been such a great experience. And just doing the play-by-play for 25 years, playing baseball for Rick Heller and 3 years there, and then playing on the football team for 3 years and earning 6 letters and a public administration degree. But Upper Iowa University and football is under terrific hands with Coach Hoskins, and I'm so very proud to be part of each and every season and all the coaches that have been part of it. But this past year was goosebumps, winning a bowl game and 9 wins on the season.
Oh, I'm sitting here getting goosebumps. This is probably the favorite part about doing this thing is interacting with people that just love their university, love their school. And I don't think we could have got 3 better representatives than what we got here right now. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you for telling the story. Without further ado, let's just dive right into the commitments that we've got. I guess technically signees now. Peacocks to be. Jordan, JD, you guys really went through the list here and fine-tooth combed everything, put together some great measurables, accolades, fun facts. Jay, why don't you tell us a little bit about maybe your favorite guy, someone that stood out watching tape? Why don't you start off?
It was tough to just single in on one guy because Coach said in JD's podcast with him earlier that he wanted to really hone in on speed and make the team a lot faster. And even the big guys going through and looking at some of their huddle film, it was impressive. So many all-staters on this recruiting class and just a couple guys out of Janesville, this Logan Lashbrook. A lot of these big guys, what I really saw from their tape was just their ability to control their positioning and getting pad level down pretty good. They're just quick. He did talk about this LJ now. The way he runs, he reminds me of George Pickens. He is so big and fast, and just his ability to high point the ball. He's so impressive that he was probably the guy, like Coach said, he thinks he's going to be a superstar. He stood out the most to me, but a lot of these big guys, just their ability to get to the ball, they have a great nose for the ball. Seem like they're very coachable players and just smart athletes. And again, a bunch of all-staters on this list that it's a damn good recruiting class for Hoskins and crew.
Yeah,
Jordan brought up Nino, and Coach brought him up. We got to speak with him an hour or so ago. He mentioned the same thing about Nino. Now, we had a young man by the name of Monte Morrow for 3 years up at Fayette. And as far as speed, size, and hands, it was just hard to see. You never see anything like that in D2, and we had him for 3 years. I'm not sure that this guy's on a track for something like that, but he did mention that of all the guys he's bringing in on the offensive side, that's one that he thinks that coming out of the spring game, he plans to not put a red shirt on him right out of the chute. He thinks he can contribute right away. Caught 104 balls at Cedar Rapids Jefferson in his career. Fairly balanced offense, so that's reasonably impressive to catch that many balls in a high school career. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. 6'2", 190. Looks like he's got some good size for D2. Let's go.
Yeah, because I started out watching his freshman tape, just his progressions through high school. Obviously, these kids get bigger, stronger, faster. He was catching a lot of balls behind the line of scrimmage. By senior year, his route running is just super impressive and be able to high point the ball. He's definitely a great talent and excited to see what he can produce for the Peacocks next year and beyond.
Absolutely. You mentioned Blackbrook too, Jay, and he was the one that caught my eye. And I talked with my buddies up at Janesville before I even watched the huddle tape. And I asked Evan Bolt and Maurice Boyle, I said, hey, what do you think of Mr. Lashbrook? Is Bolt's Janesville royalty there? And they said that this kid is good. And I turned on the tape and he's listed at 6'4", 230, I think it says. He's depending on what all-state site. On one side of the line or ball, he's a first-team all-stater on the defensive line. They line him up inside and outside. He can really hold that edge really well, keep that contained. Same thing on the offensive side of things. He really gets engaged blocking. He gets good separation too. He high points the ball when he catches it. He moves. He looks like a guy that could be a 250 guy. I don't know. Is he going to be an Eddie Burgess guy? Both came from 8-man. I think back to, here's a throwback you guys might know. I've been trying to get this picture scrubbed from the internet forever because he threw one down on me in high school. Lucas Hefty, former Peacock. That guy could play. He was a great ball player. Maybe he ends up being like that. Same area. But I'd be excited about him. He was one that really caught my eye. JD, you got any that you really caught your eye?
Yeah, just a couple of the guys that really jumped out to me. Logan Weininger out of Davenport Central. I've watched a lot of his tape. Played with a lot of power. He was kind of a power side tackle, a lot of left tackle, a lot of right tackle on the tape. Good feet, really moved the pile. Central doesn't throw the ball much because on his tape, they look like they're ground and pound. But man, he had really good feet. And he was mean and nasty and really finished. He's 6'5", 300 now. So, that's pretty big. He looks pretty stout. Does he stay a tackler or does he slide into guard? I don't know. He looks like a future get on the field guy. I was really impressed by his tape. And then I was also impressed by Preston Salo out of Mac Valley. Played a lot of left guard. Interesting guy because he's 6'5", but only 220 right now. Really good feet. Really great pass set. Really could move. He's the kind of guy that they put at the training table. And the next thing you know, 40 pounds later, he's really tearing it up. I was really impressed by him. And
Didn't he play guard? Didn't he play guard, John?
Yeah, a little bit of guard. Yeah, he played left guard. Yeah, left guard a lot on the tape that I was watching. And I think that's great, Joe.
That's great.
Which he was giving up a lot of weight, even at Coconut Valley. But he's mean and he's tough and he can play. And then the last guy was Mason Vogt out of Decorah. They got to listen as an O-lineman, but almost all his tape was D-line. And I really liked what I saw. He is got to make sure I get this right, 6'8". He's 85.
I thought that was a typo. But no,
it's not a typo. And he is cut. And, man, he played a lot of 3 technique, D tackle. So he moved around a lot. He had really good feet for a big guy. Now, a lot of times somebody could get under 6'8" a little bit on the tape, but boy, you can't teach 6'8" that size with great feet. And he was playing some really good 3 tackle. So I think 3 technique guy, I think he'll get on the field somewhere. But he's also an offensive lineman. They didn't have a lot of tape out on him, did they, Warren?
No, I didn't see much. But I will tell you this, John. It's funny. We watch a lot of the games when the Peacocks are on the road. We get the home feed for the team that's hosting the game. And they commented more than once at various games throughout the year. And Mike, you probably saw this as well or heard this as well. We play some teams down there near the Arkansas line, a fair bit south in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. And they commented on how big we were. Now we take it for granted because we're Iowa guys. Everybody in Iowa is big. We're bigger than most. And I think that what the class that he signed, getting all these guys north of 300 pounds, they're leaning into that. Let's get big on both sides of the line, push these guys around and see if we can run it 40 times and win a game. That didn't sound like a bad idea to me.
No, yeah, absolutely. You talked about the size too, Warren. Loading up in the trenches. Yeah, that Vogt kid, 6'8", 285. Man, that's out of Decorah. I think back about 15 years ago when the Hawks had Brett Van Sloten. He was a monster out of Decorah too and made a nice career playing football. And we've talked about this in other podcasts, JD, where the way the transfer portal is right now, the way it's set up, a lot of guys that are coming up for Iowa that probably could have been D1 guys maybe a decade ago, especially with that size. That's unheard of. 6'8", 285. What a get. And then you go down the line a little bit more too. You got a Trask from Sumner Fred. He's got a whole laundry list of stuff. First team All-State, Offensive Lineman of the Year, Shrine Bowl, Brian Bosworth Award recipient. Pardon me for not knowing exactly what that has. Does he have the badass neck roll, the cut up hair?
Yeah.
What's going on there? But Braylon Edwards too. So he's coming in from St. Thomas, and he took a red shirt last year. And he was at Kennedy beforehand too. Goodness, yeah. And then that's just the in-state kids. Yeah, and then you look on the defensive side of the ball. Alonzo Jimenez, JD, we did a pod with him earlier.
Yeah.
And he was a lot of fun to talk to. Got a few defensive ends. I don't have any rhyme or reason with this, but it feels like when you got a guy with a hyphenated last name like Kane, Mailer Moreno, they're just good at football. There's something about the hyphenated last name. So that's where I'm going with that. And I see he's got the All-State defensive lineman twice, defensive MVP in a tough district. I think Woodward Granger might have won their district as well. So
Ghost, I'll jump in here. I watched this auto.
Yeah.
They've lined him up at inside backer a few times too. The kid is
right.
He's got a nose for the ball. He was scraping. He was very impressive. He's a versatile big guy.
Love that.
A lot of coach goes for a lot of multi-sport athletes. He goes for a lot of wrestlers, and he says wrestlers are really nice kids until it's time to play ball, and then they're not nice. And he's got a lot of those, and I think that makes for a pretty good mix on a team.
Absolutely.
Ghost, one name that you mentioned that I think personally is going to be a hidden gem in this class is Braylon Edwards. He went up there to St. Thomas, and for whatever reason didn't work out for him, decided to come back a little closer to home. But I watched this kid at Kennedy because I'm a little closer to Cedar Rapids, so I tune more into those games. And I felt like he was maybe a little underappreciated because they had this enormous guy named Nick Brooks, who's now down at the University of Texas, that also played on that line. But Braylon Edwards, I feel like he got overlooked a little bit. And I think we're really fortunate. I believe he's on campus now. We're really fortunate to have him, and I think he's going to bring some of that grit, that toughness. At least that's what we saw in high school. Very technically sound, played for a good coach there at Kennedy, and I could see him being one of those guys that maybe steps forward and helps fill some voids in our offensive line.
Oh, absolutely. And there's no shame in not seeing the field early in a school like St. Thomas. They're tougher than a $2 steak. They always have been. And their loss is your gain. Big time stuff for the Peacock. Hey, Mike, who else do you think's good ball player? Who else you got your eyes on?
A kid, I tell you what, a kid that I'm really excited about, and I think he's going to be a stud for the Peacocks. I don't know if it's going to be next year or when it's going to be. Is this kid named Sam Dodge out of Clear Lake? First of all, I got excited because his dad is Tim Dodge. Then I got really excited because he played for Jared DeVries up there at Clear Lake. And then I saw the kid play and I got super excited. I think he's coming in as a defensive back. I think this kid is going to be phenomenal. And I don't know if he will stay a defensive back, if Coach Hoskins will eventually move him into a linebacker spot, because I know that's an area we're still looking to recruit. But I think this kid is going to find the field some way, shape, or form for Upper Iowa. And again, I think if he plays all 4 years at Upper Iowa, we're going to be saying his name quite a bit in those 4 years.
Absolutely. We had him on as well. JD had a nice conversation with him, but certainly another one with just accolades galore. 2-time All-Stater, 3-time All-District, comes from a great football pedigree, obviously. And you look at some of the linebacker sizes now, you don't got to be 250 to run around, play linebacker at the collegiate level. Like you look at Trevor Thompson, who had a great season last year for you guys. 6 foot, 220, get Dodge on campus. Hey, let's throw 15, 20 pounds on you. Get the weight room going this summer. I'm sure there's no doubt that he's in there busting his butt multiple times a week. Yeah, gentlemen, we can just keep going on and on. There's some other names we haven't highlighted yet from the state of Iowa. Outgoing is Evan Alley. He's a first-team All-State defensive back, an all-district wide receiver as well, and it looks like all-district running back. So, hey, you can put him wherever. Gadget guy. Mason Heinrichs out of WSR. We got a couple quarterbacks, Brennan Merkel from CPU, Vernon Benda from CR Jeff, Owen Fisher from Ankeny, Braden Johnson from Des Moines East. And I think Darius Nixon from CRJ is the only other name we have yet to mention from the state of Iowa that we have on our list. And if there has been any that trickled in since we compiled this, our apologies for leaving you out. You're definitely going to get your flowers down the road. JD, anything else you want to add here?
No,
Gentlemen?
I think it's great. Let's check in with Joe to see who jumps out from Joe's perspective. But you did a great job covering. Obviously, guys, as you're listening, this could be the first of many podcasts because we can't in 30 minutes cover every kid. But our goal is over a couple podcasts to really dive into all the signees.
No, and you guys have done a terrific job. And again, continue to do what you do. And I look forward to following you guys. And again, spreading the word down here in Des Moines. On the call this afternoon before this started, talking with Coach about all of these kids that are coming in. I'm so very hopeful that these list of Iowa kids will contribute to this program. I'm sure they will and be part of it. That's part of Jason Hoskins' process. I believe in the process. And Upper Iowa University is a terrific place to get an education and play NCAA Division II college football, the only NCAA Division II college football program in the state of Iowa.
A little story about that real quick. When Upper Iowa decided to switch to D2 from D3, the athletic director at the time, Gil Cloud, said, if you're not going to Iowa State, UNI or Drake, I want Iowa kids coming to Upper Iowa. And Coach Hoskins has really embraced that. He wasn't here during Gil Cloud's era, but it's brought success. Our men's basketball team is a roster full of Iowa guys, and we've been successful. So we're seeing that now with Coach Hoskins and the football program. Like he said, there's great players right around us here in the state of Iowa.
Yeah, and it's kind of, it's funny. Really, there's about maybe 50 or 60 counties around Fayette that there's towns in there where Fayette and Upper Iowa is the closest option for Division II competition. And Dubuque, Cedar Rapids, Quad Cities are in there. Des Moines, Peoria, Illinois, the western suburbs of Chicago, southern Wisconsin, pretty much anything south of Interstate 94, we got it. If you want to play Division II football, Upper Iowa should be on your short list of places to look. What is it? I think something like 80% of our guys here in the Hoskins era have either come from Iowa or from a state that borders Iowa. So it's a pretty tight recruiting area. We got a little pipeline with Texas that seems to be working out okay, but Jason knows where the footprint in and he works it. And he and his guys worked really hard, did a lot of time on the road, a lot of time on the phone. This is what we get. 37 guys on a list. It all looks like Powerball numbers right now. They all look pretty good. Some of them will go on to have the type of career that Trevor Thompson did. And Tade Parsons from Wapello, Eddie Burgess, and Clay Seahas from Sumner. All three of those guys signed on in 2022. They went 1-10 with that last team in the Northern Sun Conference, and they rode that elevator all the way up. By the end of the season rolled around this year, they were one play away from being league champions, and they were all first team all conference. That ain't bad.
Had to bring that up, Ward.
Pretty good Iowa kids.
Had to bring that up.
There's so much talent. It takes that one class. It just takes that one class to really to get things going, and you start stacking and great things happen.
Brandon, I want to add one thing. Joe, you talked about you're doing play-by-play for 25 years. You have a real understanding. Where do they need to find players? One player that really jumped out to me was Darren Dortch, right? He's already on campus.
Yeah.
Quarterback, right?
California.
Talk about him because he's on campus already. He's a D2 starter from another school. I think he's really got a great opportunity to make an impact this year.
You know what? All I see is what I see on paper right now. And what Coach Hoskins mentioned to us, played 10 games, threw for 1,760 yards. I can go on down the line, making the most for a Northeastern State quarterback since 2016. You know what? We're going to find out what he can do. We need somebody athletic. Again, Darrell Overstreet Jr. was an athlete, and he was with this program for so long. And so we're coming off a 9-win season in a bowl game. This kid's going to have to come in along with this competition and learn this system. And it's coaches speak, but at the same time, we got to strike while the iron's hot. And I think Coach Hoskins has done that with this recruiting class. And with that, due to the success of the program. And I'm looking at this list that was released by Upper Iowa, but this is a terrific list of recruits. I'm licking my chops before I eat my pork chop and some vegetables here tonight to end my night. But quarterback is obviously, again, you always hate to say it, but it's really is a very vital, important position in the offensive mix. And obviously, it all starts up front, but that quarterback position is going to be very hard. And this Dorian Dorch, big kid, from California, we've had some luck with those kids out there. We hope that they come into Iowa, embrace the Midwestern atmosphere and the conducive area at Upper Iowa University to have a great college campus experience and get a national eye on them and further their career, both in athletics and academics.
That's what you say too about getting guys in from like California. That was something that stuck out to me with your interview with Hoskins, JD, was it's not always easy to bring guys up from Texas to Iowa in the middle of January. You get the guys that buy in, and that's the right guys you want in your program.
Yeah. And I think one of the last ones we don't have on the list too was Zamar Wise, I believe, just came in from UMass, a Division I transfer. I was going through his Twitter page here, and it looks like this might be Chad GPT talking, but they gave him a comp of Lynn Bowden Jr., who used to play at Kentucky. And I remember he was kind of like Randall Cobb. After Randall Cobb, they moved him around. They say he can play anywhere. He's a versatile dual threat guy like Mr. Overstreet there.
Kind of think maybe Mr. Wise might want to have one more shot at playing quarterback. I believe he has 1 year of eligibility left after transferring from the University of Massachusetts. Where I think they were working him at wide receiver there a little bit. I'm not sure he really dug that too much. I think he had one more chance to take snaps. And so I think we'll get a good long look at him at spring game. Likewise, Dorian Dorch. We'll see a lot of both of them at the spring game, and we'll see what happens next. I imagine a couple of these guys at the quarterback, there'll be 5 quarterbacks on the roster here by the time those guys all report this summer. Probably put red shirts on at least 2 of them, I'm betting. And it's wide open for quarterback right now.
Yeah, Warren, he came in late, but hey, this guy was a 3-star coming out of high school. Think about how college football has changed. Got a 3-star guy who you can go look up on ESPN who's coming into Fayette to play football this fall.
I think what this class really does this year, the class that we signed as a whole, it really builds off of that solid foundation over the last couple of years. So we may not see some of these kids next year on the field. I don't know how many of them, only time will tell, are going to be plug and play guys. But man, you look at the size of some of these kids we're bringing in, specifically O-line and defensive line. And I know that we have one of the best strength and conditioning staff available in Matt Vargas and his boys, and the culture that Coach Hoskins has built. If those guys aren't plugging and playing next year, boy, the future looks really good for Upper Iowa football if these kids stick around.
Man, yeah. Some of these accolades too, you get to the out-of-staters. Camden Hungerholt from Minnesota, Mr. Football in the state of Minnesota. I don't care what state it is. Mr. Football anywhere is incredible.
6 foot 190.
Yeah, 190. Goodness. Second most all-purpose yards in Minnesota state history, a state champion. Then you go down to like the guys from Kenosha, JD, the all-name team, Sincere Williams, and then Dante Williams. Just some of the interesting things too. Student of the year, team captain, won awards for humility, respect, generosity.
You talk about winners, those 2 boys from Kenosha. They were 13-0 last year on one of the best teams in Wisconsin, won the state title. So they're not only bringing in great players, but people who know how to win.
Brandon, Mr. Football coming to Upper Iowa University. Brandon, holy smokes. Yeah.
I heard you getting a little excited when I said that. I remember seeing that notification that he had committed when that came across our page, and we were talking about that. Man, I wonder how many times that has ever happened in Upper Iowa history to get a state's Mr. Football.
Warren Reyerson will figure it out.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'll have to use the Chad GPT.
And I hate to blow up Coach Hoskins' head a little too much. I think he's still feeling good about his Albanese Candy Bowl. But 5 years ago, a recruiting list like this doesn't even look at Upper Iowa. Warren said 3 years ago, we were 1-10. And those kids that are really good football players that are D2 type quality kids, they're looking to go to they're looking to go to Wartburg because they would rather play with programs that win. We have now entered the conversation, and Coach Hoskins has done that with the program he's built and is building here at Upper Iowa. That's what I get really excited about. I'm excited about where we're at right now. But when I look off into the distance and what I see, I get the luxury of seeing everything happen every day with Coach Hoskins and the football team and the strength staff. And I see these kids walk into class and notice that month by month, they're getting bigger and stronger and neater and faster. Just watching the journey, I get so excited about where we're going. And this is a piece of that, being able to now turn the heads of some of these best or better Iowa kids in the state of Iowa. And they're not looking just at Wartburgs and Co., which are very great programs in the state of Iowa. William Penn, Grandview, Drake, you go down the line. Great football in the state of Iowa. But we were never in the conversation. Now we are. And that gets me excited.
Great job, Mike.
Mike, I would add one thing. You signed Mason Heinrichs, an O-lineman from Waverly Shell Rock today, 6'6", 320. When's the last time a kid like that didn't go to Wartburg?
Right.
Great point. I can't remember the last time I saw a Waverly kid come to Fayette.
Yeah, when's the last time a Waverly kid, except going high D1, ever left town? That's the way I view it. But guys, this is fantastic. I'm going to let Ghost close us out.
All righty. We've covered so much, guys. Obviously a lot to cover. That's what we wanted to cover. Was a huge signing class, a successful signing class, at least on paper, based on accolades, going to Fayette for Coach Hoskins and company. We'll see what happens next. Best of luck to all the student athletes in the next chapter of their lives. It's a big transition. But if there's anything we've learned from Mike and Warren and Joe, it seems like they're in great hands in Fayette. So we thank you all for listening. Be sure to stay tuned to all of our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. But we couldn't do it without all the listeners. Thank you so much, and take care, everyone.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Warren. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, guys.
God bless all y'all.
Appreciate
You
you.
as well.
Thank you.